Hey everybody, thank you for joining us to watch this week's episode of Black Republican, Black Democrat. I am your white producer, and we'll be starting very soon. We'd love to hear from you, so if you want to ask questions of the guys or our guest, Royce White, please comment below the video on the Black Republican, Black Democrat page. We'll put them up on the screen in your background. And guys, the show is all yours as soon as you want it.
Let's go. Welcome to Black Republican, Black Democrat. I'm your host tonight, Just Jamar.
I'm your other co-host, A.K. Kamar.
You probably got to turn on your
turn
mic.
on my mic. I'm A.K. Kamar.
That would probably help.
This is my first time on a microphone.
Well, I mean, your first time caller? First time listener?
First time caller.
The hell?
Forever listener.
Dude.
How you doing, man?
I'm all right, bro. I cannot complain. Although, I've got something that I want you to hear.
Okay.
I mean, last night was was really good for me, right?
Okay.
Yeah, you know. So I brought a clip of something that I want you to hear from our president. Our president.
Yeah,
you know the man.
President of the United States.
You know, right? You know, the guy that beat Trump by what, 7 million votes? I think he beat him by like 7 million votes. He creamed him,
and he's just so popular right now.
Well, I mean, listen, you don't have to be popular. You just have to do the right things. I don't care about how popular you are if you're doing the right things. And so last night, something that he said, I think just spoke volumes of who he is and the State of the Union. Producer.
I've come to report on the state of the nation, the State of the Union. And my report is this: the State of the Union is strong because you, the American people, are strong. We are stronger today. We are stronger today than we were a year ago. And we'll be stronger a year from now than we are today.
That's right.
This is our moment to meet and overcome the challenges of our time. And we will, as one people, one America, the United States of America. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you. Go get him.
Go get him, damn it.
Go get who?
Go get him.
Go get who? Who
Listen,
go get, man?
That's just a triumph call of, you know, I don't think you played sports. You know, how your coach tells you, you know, hey,
my coach
let's
never
go
said go get him. He
What?
said go get him. Like all of them. Go, like all of those people.
He did say go. He did say go get him.
It sounded like he said go get him.
mean, EM sounds like HIM. You know, him, get him. Okay.
I got a question. Did you like the MAGA light that was kind of going on during that whole speech, talking about we need to, secure our borders, right? We need to bring back trade to America and bring back production to America. What else did he say that was very Trumpian? Oh,
first of all,
I'm a capitalist.
Excuse me. First of all, that's nothing. Trump, stop playing. That's America.
That was a Trump.
Excuse me.
That was a MAGA light speech last night.
Absolutely not.
He said a bunch of things that he's never said. Democrats started chanting
Excuse me.
USA.
Excuse me.
USA.
So, Democrats don't love this country? Are you
Democrats
playing?
do not chant USA. That is 100% a Republican.
What the hell, State of the Union? Have you not watched it when the Democrats have yelled USA? They're not proud of this country. We're just not proud of the BS that the Republicans that allow. That's what we're not proud of.
Which party are the ones that are more nationalistic? I can tell you it ain't the Democrats.
The party that are full of white racists? Yeah, your party.
Not the party that said that during the 4th of July, seeing all these American flags can be intimidating. That's the thing. I think
especially when they used to hang Negroes by them. Yeah.
So that's a contradiction that I'm talking about.
No, it's not a contradiction. Some
not,
Americans, especially white Americans, they like to whitewash what happened. Okay, I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, but white folks like to whitewash what happens to this country when it happens when it pertains to
USA?
Black and brown men.
So that's why you don't chant USA?
You chant USA if you want to.
I know that you can chant USA. That's what I'm saying, though. The State of the Union, personally,
the State of the Union is great because this country is great.
Based off of the
people is great.
A lot of the points, I agreed with.
Good.
Because they were right of center talking points.
Who do you think the guy is? Why do you? This was kills me about you, and especially if anyone that knows politics. You are never going to paint Joe Biden as a liberal Democrat. There's not one single solitary bill that you can show me that he sponsored himself that it was so left wing that he just drove you. That's not who he is. He is a left of center guy. Period. That's who he is. You guys are so. It kills me about your party is because you don't like titles and you guys don't like what's the word you use when you
Identity politics.
Excuse me. You don't like identity politics. Yet this guy, you want to paint this guy as such a liberal when there's nothing this guy's done, or because he was with President Obama. What's he done that name a bill that he sponsored?
The entire Build Back Better.
Oh, that's right.
It's liberal spending.
That's
man.
right.
It's liberal policy.
Excuse me. You complain about spending. You said not one damn thing when the dude prior to him didn't even reduce the deficit by one thing. Did nothing but spend. What were you complaining then?
The cuts that went into place.
Yes, for the rich. For the rich?
You could call it
you mean, I'm sorry.
The average American
I forget. You like that $20 that Americans got.
And that was another thing. When he talked about the
I forget. You like that $20 that Americans got, huh?
I don't care.
The Negroes got, you like that cut?
The payroll cut, payroll tax cut.
That we never seen.
Everyday Americans.
That we never seen.
I remember so many people anecdotally come up to me like, man, my paycheck, went up a little bit.
Well, I know.
Thank you to President
Let me
Trump.
say the same thing. I know so many people that say, man, my paycheck ain't shit. Yeah, I know there's so many people. Again, we talked about this weeks ago. Go back to my Facebook page. I did a poll when it came out and I asked for honest opinions. And there were plenty of people said some of them seen it and some of them didn't. So it depends on your job. Do you act like this guy came in, he didn't create 6 million jobs like this guy did within the first year.
After the greatest amount of people in the history of the United States tracking this data have resigned and quit their jobs.
Yeah.
One of the lowest labor force
they quit and went to other jobs.
See,
that's what I'm saying. You guys like to give half-ass facts.
Labor force participation.
They quit and went to other jobs, and I guess you guys want most Americans, especially black and brown folks, to stay stifled in low-wage jobs, like the jobs that your guy created. Which is why
more black and brown Americans were working under President Trump.
Oh, yeah, I know. Right. Yeah, okay. Which is why black folks still have the highest unemployment rate. And even under your guy that you guys love to think that what you guys think that he saved black folks, how come according to y'all he gave us so many jobs. He gave us so many jobs. And then let me ask you, it's not. And then let me ask you again, if he gave us so many jobs, how come the white counterparts had more jobs? How come the unemployment rate how come the employment rate was still higher for the little black people than it was for their white counterparts?
Yeah, and that's
because it was more white folks?
That's because the free economic zones that President Trump was putting into place.
You mean the ones he didn't fully fund?
You know, the ones that he was starting.
Yeah,
actually having impacts in the black community.
Yeah. Where?
Where? Here's the thing. You have to recognize that there is a disparity. We all recognize that, correct?
No,
right?
You all need to recognize that.
No,
not me.
We do recognize
not the brother that's in the hood that sees it.
We're talking about how do you
Your party needs to recognize
We're talking about how do you fix the disparity.
You guys don't fix it.
The economic zones that were put into place, there was Democrats as well that helped with that, right? Senator Tim Scott. These were things that were pushed.
You're not calling Tim.
This is how.
You're not calling your boy. And I mean that BOY. Tim Scott, a Democrat?
No, I'm saying he's the Republican. There were Democrats like what's his name, Cory Booker from New Jersey or whatever, right? Like these were policies to try and again help this be a better economy. Mm-hmm. But State of the Union, I thought it was interesting. Now there's a second point to bring up of why I think the State of the Union sounded the way that it sounded, MAGA light, and that's these approval ratings. Oh. These approval ratings have been brutal for Joe Biden. Oh. There's been a handful of polls from all different organizations, right? You had the YouGov poll that came out, you had the Harris poll that came out, and showing that the American people, by and large, do not support the job that Joe Biden has been doing as president. They view that his economy is worse off than what he inherited, that he is not actually coming through on his promises, and most importantly, they believe that his weakness is what allowed Putin to have the gusto to make the changes that he made and to wrongfully invade Ukraine. For these reasons, for all of this information that has been adding up, I think that Joe Biden understood that he has to change trajectory. Oh, that was the other thing at the State of the Union. He said, we don't need to defund the police. We need to fund the police. And here's the thing.
Have you never heard Joe Biden say that?
But that's such a spit in the
I asked you a question.
To all of the progressives that have supported Joe Biden.
Bro, I asked you a question. I'm not talking about you're talking about Joe Biden. We're not talking about the progressives. Have you not ever heard Joe Biden say that we don't need to defund the police?
I've heard Joe Biden say that before, but not in not in a national address.
Yes,
where he is speaking,
bro,
he is
stop.
throwing the red
come on,
meat.
no,
He's throwing the red
don't be
meat.
like the typical Republican, for real.
I'm not.
He said that
That
publicly
shocked me when
and
he said that.
nationally, privately. Yes, the man has publicly said we do not defund the police.
He's trying to change.
He
the
is
narrative.
not.
He's
Stop.
trying to change the
Dude,
narrative.
stop.
Did you see what?
Do a simple Google search. Do a
Did
simple
you see
Google
what
search.
BLM tweeted?
I don't give a damn.
Well, you don't give a damn now?
I don't give a damn then or now.
Okay. Well, BLM was like, why is he saying fund the police? That doesn't address blah, 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 blah. And that's my point. That's been the Democrats. Democrats hitched themselves to defund.
No, excuse me. Some Democrats, because of the atrocities and the way that police departments are ran and the way black folks have been disrespected and killed unarmed, we're talking. Some folks wanted to throw out the baby with the bathwater, but then there were some of us smart folks that said, "Listen, let's do strong reform." Which still, and then you have the young man get killed. So then, what we say sounds hollow because we're saying don't defund the police, let's reform the police. Yet these police are still killing unarmed black men. So don't. I understand what Black Lives Matter said, and I understand what the president said because I'm on both sides. As a black man that's had his ass whooped by the police, I understand why you want to defund the police department that promotes corruption. All right, doesn't promote within, and when they do promote within, it's the same old status quo. You want that to change. You want that to change. You don't want police in your neighborhoods that don't treat you with respect because of a bad neighborhood that they've deemed. No. We do want strong reform in this police and this police department and across this nation. And the president spoke as much as we had all summer long, and he did too. A simple Google search would show you that.
A simple Google search would also show you that the polls are changing, and Joe Biden and the Democrats are afraid of what is coming in these midterms. And here's the biggest part. Like Republicans, of course, we're not going to ever think that Joe Biden does a great job, right?
Sure.
But independents are at a 21 to 23% approval of Joe Biden. That means that almost 80% of independents do not approve of the job that Joe Biden's doing. And that's why, to me, that's why he gave this MAGA light speech.
First of all, he gave a moderate speech. And what I love, too, is how come you never spoke of the bad numbers Trump had? And when I spoke of them, you came up with some BS about, oh, that's just that poll. You want to talk about a man that never had an approval rating above 50%. Ever. Only thing he had a 50% approval rating of this country was how he handled the economy sometimes. So you want me to be mad that some people are mad, 1,000 people that they interviewed are mad, when your guy never had a good approval rating and you care about this, but you don't care about that?
You got to understand. I don't care that he has a low approval rating. I'm saying that the way that he is changing and shifting, that is because of the approval ratings. Right?
Oh.
That is my point.
Oh, okay.
I don't care if Joe Biden's approval ratings were whatever at 10%.
Oh.
The point is that when he starts to shift and things start moving differently and there's a different narrative coming from the Democrat Party, I'm telling you, it's
what's the
this
before because we got a great guest tonight too.
Yeah.
Speaking of Democrats and Republicans, our boy Royce White is going to be on the show tonight, and I'm sure he's chomping at the bit to get in here. So if Democrats are worried, which wait a minute, AK, you know politics well enough to know that, I mean, the president that's in the White House normally during midterms loses seats. That's been happening throughout
that's
time.
That's historic. That's correct.
Period.
That is a pattern that's
Trump did. Yep. President Obama did. President Biden will liable to do so, but we'll see if it falls the way that you think.
Oh, I think it's gonna be
the way you guys
unless you guys are successful at what's going on. And here's what I will, as a Republican, I always say this to other Republicans: if we do not call out this narrative shift and hold their feet to the fire of the things that they stood by, and let them change the narrative this far out, they will change the narrative. And by the time we get to the midterms, a bunch of people are going to be like, Oh no, yeah, the Democrats have always been for funding the police and make America great again.
But our point is this, and because the rebuttal last night, she killed me with that great smile she had, but she killed me. Lily White, you just Lily White. I mean, I've seen all the unicorns running behind. I'm like, what the hell? Where does she live? What kills me is that you guys talk about what this person isn't doing. Never ever offer what you're gonna do. Period. You talk about President Obama when he had the Obamacare. Oh, we've got a better plan. Where is it? What the hell is it? Y'all talk about what this president isn't doing. What are y'all gonna do for us? That's the difference. You got to contrast what you say that President Obama, what the hell is this man's name?
Oh, Biden?
Okay. That's what it used to be. What President Biden isn't doing and what you guys versus what you guys would do. You guys
I'll be the first person to
Mitch
say,
McConnell was asked that flat out, and he said, I don't know. I'll let you know when we get elected.
I think Mitch McConnell needs to, hang up the hat.
Okay.
There's a lot of good senators and congressmen that are talking about things that they want to do. But I will say that as a party apparatus, RNC, they do a bad job at saying, okay, yes, we get all these terrible things that the Democrats are doing, but here's what we are going to do. And I agree that the Republicans better come up with some honest solutions to push as a unit. Because again, you can go find individual congressmen, senators that have great plans that they're talking about this bill, doing this, but we can't just be the opposite of, well, we're not Joe Biden and we're not Democrats. We have to say, here's what it is that we're doing, and I 100% agree.
You're absolutely right, because Democrats can't do that. Trump is gone. So now we've got to go show what we've done for the American people. And there's a lot that has been done so far. That's the bad thing about Democrats. We don't go around talking about what we've done so you got people asking, well, what have you done? And so what I like about him is he always acknowledges that we're still hurting and there's a lot of work to do, which you said last night. There is a lot of work to do, but it has to be done as a collective country instead of being so partisan like you guys are. Tonight we got on the show congressional candidate for CD5, Royce White. Welcome to the show, Royce. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm great.
Good. Royce, you're running against a effing machine, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Before I start that, did I say welcome to the show?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, because who are you?
Well, I'm an American. I was born and raised here in the Twin Cities, St. Paul to be specific. Rondo community, 5 generations, and my family's been here. Very unique heritage. My great-grandmother was a first-generation immigrant from Mexico. My other great-grandmother was a first-generation immigrant from Norway. And my father and my grandmother's father, their family came by way of Arkansas and Kansas, so foundational Black Americans, right? And my story is one of making it to the highest level of the sports world and seeing the sports world as a sort of watering hole for a global corporate community and challenging that sports world and all of their tangential partners to change and revise the status quo, specifically around mental health, but mental health as another way to say the human condition.
Well, why are you running for office then?
Because we're in a crisis.
What happened? Such?
This country's in a crisis. I mean, we have a bunch of crises. I would say there's crisis across the board, but the central crisis is around citizenship. Citizenship versus globalism. And we have an elite in this country that has sold out the working class to global interests. And they're the only people who stand a chance to help the working class in this country to change the status quo, in my opinion, are people who have proved in their past that they're willing to forego the offer to sell out to the establishment. And I've done that. I did that at 21 years old. I was talking about corporatocracy and a global corporate community and this sort of economics-only conservatism or neoliberal elitism 10 years ago when people were, clamoring over the NBA and couldn't get enough alcohol or drugs to get their fix. And many people still are. But I think now people are more amenable to the idea that big corporations in this country have sold us out in one form or another. But who are the people that sounded that alarm? Who are the people who are willing to actually fight that? And who are the people who won't take an offer when the time comes?
So you're running as a Republican, right? And I always roll my eyes when I see brothers and mostly black folks running as Republicans anyway. Yeah, please, especially in this city, this state. And you're running against Ilhan, who is fairly popular. It's going to be, I hope you're raising a lot of money because, that woman is a machine. Why are you running as a Republican?
Well, I believe that a lot of black people in this country are cultural Democrats.
Cultural Democrat? What's a cultural Democrat?
I'll explain it to you. I grew up in the Rondo community, which is the most historic black community in Minnesota.
Sure.
It was the center of black culture throughout the 1900s until they sort of divided Rondo with the freeway there, which is, a historical event that sort of disrupted the affluence of the black community there in Rondo. And I believe that after World War II, the Civil Rights Act was used as a calling card to represent the Democrats as being the party for black people. And the traditional consensus now in America is that Democrats are favorable to black people, not racist completely, but favorable, and Republicans are just racist out and out. Here's
Tell the truth, shame the devil.
It's not true, but here's what I realized. When I first came onto the public scene, into the public arena, I came as a mental health advocate. And I saw mental health and the psychological as many layers deeper than the political. I thought I was above the political. I thought I didn't need to be involved in politics. I believed I was apolitical. And I saw the pitfalls of both parties. I saw the corruption of both parties. And there is a uniparty, and we can talk about the uniparty. But after I got my thoughts ordered, after I took the time to order my thoughts and write down my story, my journey into professional sports and fighting against the NBA, I realized that I was mistaken.
How so?
I had made a grave mistake because when the political ideology is potent, it has a profound effect on the psychological. And that the liberal ideology in this country has a stronghold on the status quo, especially for black people. And when I look back at the black men who helped raise me, the black men in the community that helped raise me, the black women who helped raise me, none of the liberal establishment's talking points about where they were headed or where we are now matched up with the way that I was raised. They didn't match up with what I know to be true of the black community. We believe in family.
And you wait. Okay, I hear you. I hear you. Are you trying to tell me Democrats don't believe in that?
Oh yeah. No.
Stop. You're looking at a Democrat that believes in all that was raised with that. Don't tell me that.
You're not a Democrat.
Oh, what am I?
You're a cultural Democrat.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's I love now. So wait a minute. So wait a minute. You one of these Republicans now? You finna relabel us now?
No, I'm gonna explain it to you.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna explain it to you. All the black men who helped raise me, all the black men in the community I came from, they believe in God. They believe in family. They believe in marriage. They believe in two genders. They believe in hierarchy. They believe in competition. They believe in the right to bear arms.
So wait a minute. Let me wait. So again, here we go again which is why I'm proud to be a part of this party, because we believe in real freedom, which is what your party does. So I heard you say the two genders, which relates to homosexuality. Right. So you don't believe that someone has a choice to love who they want to?
Oh no. What I don't believe is that you could be a woman and have a penis.
I didn't ask you that. I said you don't believe that someone should love who they want to.
I'm telling you what I believe.
So again,
you can love whoever you want.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. So that's all I needed. Sure. So we should not. There should not be a party or people that accepting of someone that loves the same sex, bro.
Of course, you can love whoever you want.
So there should not be a party and a place for. There should not be a place and a party for people that think that way, that feel that have been raped or molested, or feel that they are a female or a male. There should not be a place for them.
But what does that have to do with two genders?
I'm asking this guy.
I don't know what that has to do with
I'm not sure I
genders.
understand the question.
It's a simple question. There should not be a place for people that identify as man.
There is a place. It's called America.
Well, thank you. And so there should not be a party for. So there should not be a party for those people either.
A party for them?
Yeah. There should not be an accepting party for
I
them.
don't think there should be any political party that tries to deviate from the facts.
Oh, and the facts are what?
The facts are you can't be a woman and have a penis, or you can't be a man and give birth.
So you can't just be homosexual then, right?
So of course you can be homosexual.
Oh.
That's a completely different thing.
Wait, it has. What do you mean? How is it, bro? When it all has to do with homosexuality?
No, it doesn't.
Transgender has nothing to do with homosexuality.
The LGBTQ community has made the distinction between being homosexual and being transgender.
I don't care.
That's their ideology.
The reality is, it has something to do with homosexuality.
So now you're going to tell the LGBTQ community what
I'm telling you and the LGBT community that it has something to do with that. Absolutely. I mean, use your eyes. That's all you have to use. So again, you have a problem with homosexuality?
No, not at all. I have a problem with the idea that we can make facts up on the go.
What's made up facts?
That a man can get pregnant.
Who said that a man could get pregnant?
See, that's how I know you're a cultural Democrat.
Because Democrats run around saying that, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yes,
What,
they do.
They absolutely do.
I'm in this party and I'm so involved. I've never heard a Democrat say that a man can
you're
get
just not paying
birthing
attention.
persons.
Oh,
Birthing persons.
You're
I'm
selective.
blind.
You're selective with the
right,
Democratic
right,
Party.
Right. Okay. So then,
Yeah,
what
that's
has you're have you always been a Republican?
No, I was apolitical.
Okay. So when did you become a
But
Republican?
I'm a conservative.
Okay. When did you become a Republican?
I've always been a conservative.
So when did you become a Republican?
I've always been a conservative.
Okay, this is gonna be a hard interview. Yeah. So now that you're Republican,
See,
what has your party done for black folks that made you want to join this party? I mean, I hear all your soliloquy. I just want to get to the meat of the bones. What has your party done that made you want to be a Republican, and to that black folks should even vote for you? And now that you've joined this party,
I think there's one party in this country that has addressed the idea that black people in this country are citizens, and that an America First agenda ultimately serves black people. What I hear the Democrats saying very arrogantly, very naively, and very disrespectfully to black people is the Great Reset, Build Back Better, you're going to own nothing and be happy. I don't think there's anything more racist than for a bunch of affluent white liberals to tell black people whose ancestors put blood, sweat, and tears into this country and weren't fairly compensated that we should now give up our citizenship for a global citizenship because they have a bigger dream than America. That's racism.
So I want to ask you this. I keep on hearing you talk about the difference between an American citizen, right? Let's call it sovereignty. Yeah. And what you view, which I actually agree with, that there is this push that does come from you can define it however you want to, but it's a collectivist idea. And the collectivist idea is that borders don't matter, right?
Yeah.
What really matters is that you can kind of have one world government, right? Call it the UN on steroids, call it NATO on steroids. And for you, and I'd say people that are right of center, we think that that's a bad thing because you are actually giving up individual rights. So for you, how long have you had these thoughts? You know, is this something that was instilled in you when you were a kid, or is it something that you intuitively always felt when it comes to like the idea of the individual versus this collective?
No, I fought the NBA. I fought a global machine. They sat me down in a room behind closed doors and said, you know what, you're right about mental health. It is an epidemic. It is a crisis. We know it. But we don't have to change anything because you don't have any leverage. You as an individual don't have any leverage because we've created a collective cartel that is professional sports. That's a part of a bigger cartel that is a global corporate community. So you can't tell us to change anything, even if you're right.
Mm. So like one of the things that
they told me, you're too smart for your own good. The liberal Democratic media, the Yahoos and the New York Times.
Because none of them exist in your party. Go ahead.
The liberal establishment media outnumbers Republican
media.
Right,
I know.
Conservative media 4-1.
Right,
especially in the mainstream.
Yeah, I know.
How many mainstream conservative Republican channels are there on cable? One. There's
Fox.
There's
WGN.
Fox.
Newsy. Yeah, you know
WGN.
Let me finish. I'm the host, right? So you know that WGN does.
WGN is not mainstream.
Excuse me.
There's 6 mainstream liberal media channels.
Okay. So look, now you're gonna tell me this.
MSNBC, ABC, CNN. Mm-hmm. The list goes on.
Okay. So I ask you again, and I loved how you're definitely Republican. I loved how you skated all over it, you know, kind of like Lionel Richie or Fred Astaire. What has your party done for the black and brown folks in this state this city, this community, that has made you want to join being a Republican? And if you're elected, which, I mean, that's a total uphill battle, no one's going to beat her, what will you do?
Well, first of all, Republicans haven't been in charge in this city.
Oh,
for 60
that's
years.
right. Damn, that's right. That's the excuse. You're not in charge. So
Yeah, they're not.
so when you're not in charge,
Not an
is there,
excuse, it's a
excuse me,
fact.
when
They're
you're
not
not
in
in charge,
charge.
is there nothing you can do when you're not when you don't have
Wait a minute.
when you're not
The
an
way the
elected official?
process
Excuse me, brother.
works-
Excuse me.
the way the process
That's not the way the
works in
process.
this
If you're not an
country-
elected official, does that mean that you can't do anything
the way
for
the
your city?
No, I think that.
Okay.
I think
The
that
answer is no.
Republicans have tried to.
They ain't done shit.
Okay, I mean, you asked me the question. I think,
And you haven't answered. You keep dancing around it.
No, I'm not.
Take off
dancing
your tap
around it.
dance shoes and answer the question.
No, I'm not tap dancing.
Okay.
I don't tap dance.
So answer the question.
I
What
see
has
a
your
lot
party
of
done for black
I see a
folks?
lot of black sellouts tap dancing
What is your
for the liberals.
What has your party
I
done
see a
for
lot
black
of
folks
black
around
people
here?
dancing for the Democrats.
Right now, what has your party done for black folks?
I think that Republicans have given black people hope through citizenship.
Okay.
Now it's up to us to actually step up to the plate and acknowledge that, recognize that, become citizens, rise up, come together as a black community, make a decision about what we want and where we want to go and what vehicle we're going to use to do that. A global citizenship isn't going to do that. An American citizenship has the opportunity to do that.
So nothing. Okay. Next question. Now she is a machine.
Yeah.
And what she's done, especially last year, which I think is going to get her reelected, she did exactly what you want your elected leader to do. When there was problems, when people were hungry, had no place to go, didn't have food, didn't have clothing, this lady stepped up all around the city.
Did she?
Did
she?
What did you do? What did you do last year? What did you do last year? When she was elected official, and when people were hurting during the what were you calling it last year? Doing the Floyd, what did they call it? Doing the whatever the big word was they called it last year during the Floyd situation. This woman,
The riots.
no, the unrest.
During the George Floyd situation?
Yeah.
I led all the protests, the peaceful protests during the George Floyd situation.
Okay, a peaceful protest. So this lady.
Whoa, wait, but don't skip over that. Take your tap dance shoes off.
So
Let's talk about the George Floyd situation.
Leading peaceful protests,
Yeah.
rather than providing food, shelter,
Yeah, we
clothing, all that.
provided food. We handed out food. We handed out backpacks, school supplies, all of
I
that.
don't know how
No, we did all those things,
I don't know
man.
how that would help me if you protest versus right now feeding me, sheltering me, doing those things. So that's what an elected leader did. That's what she did during last year.
Actually, she was out there following me during the George Floyd protest, but she was doing it with her hood up. She was hiding.
Okay, well, whatever. So
That's what a lot of these leaders do.
Oh.
They hide.
what leaders? You want to
The
call
one I
them
just
out?
said,
You-
Ilhan Omar.
Oh, okay.
She was out there during on July 4th when we went from U.S. Bank Stadium to the Federal Reserve. She was out there behind me. She was right over my right shoulder with her hood up. She was hiding.
Okay.
Why was she hiding?
Why was she hiding?
Now you tap dancing.
Why was she hiding?
Yeah, you called the right one.
Why was she hiding?
She was hiding because she's a puppet. She was hiding because she has an image that she has to try and uphold for the powers that be.
Oh.
And those powers, while they may pretend like black lives are their real interest because it's advantageous for a sort of intersectionality narrative that's the church of LGBTQ, they really don't care about black people. See, the most racist thing that was said in the last 8 years wasn't sons of bitches by Donald Trump. The most racist thing that was said was Joe Biden telling the Congressional Black Caucus, you guys need to go get with the Latinos because in a few years, their population is going to be bigger than yours. That's one of the most insulting things you could say when you are a part of a party that has promoted abortion and open borders. If black people's grievances in this country are completely tied to our population size, then by default, we should be anti-abortion and we should be anti-open borders if it's a population game. But he doesn't mind that. And he doesn't mind saying it. You know why? Because there's a bunch of tap dancing black folks that are willing to sell out to a liberal establishment for a pipe dream. So he doesn't even have to tell you the truth. He's insulting your intelligence, and a lot of us take it, and I'm not one of them.
Yeah, because Republicans don't. You got something?
So I agree with you on a philosophical level on a lot of what you're talking about. The question that I have is when it comes to understanding that someone like Jamar, right, has a fundamental belief that Democrats can do these things. I don't think that that's right, but understand and accept that he has that differing opinion. So one way to say it is, do you think that Democrats, while being absolutely wrong from what you believe, do you think that they should be able to have that kind of perspective? Do you think that you're going to be able to win over those types of Democrats?
Look, this is America. You can think what you want to think. My goal is to try and bring a ministry of truth into the belly of the beast, because I know that my people have been misled, manipulated, misrepresented by this global corporate community, by this liberal establishment, this neoliberal establishment that's actually a uniparty establishment that has a huge neocon and rhino faction. Now, make no mistake about it. There's an actual civil war going on inside the Republican Party. So there's nobody who's making the claim that the Republican Party doesn't have its problems. In fact,
I can't tell.
Yeah, well, that's because you're not paying attention.
I'm paying attention. I just don't hear you.
You're not.
So,
You're
Royce,
not.
again,
the populist
what
movement.
are you?
Whoa,
if you're elected,
wait a second. The Donald Trump MAGA movement was divergent from the establishment GOP.
Okay.
100%. No, you can't skate over that.
Because I don't want to hear it.
No, because you want to try and put on a message.
What I ask you again, if you're elected, you haven't said it. You said it.
Yes,
you keep
no.
You're on your diatribe about what the Democrats haven't done, and you have yet to say.
Back to a question.
You have yet to say one damn thing about what you would do as an elected official for the people in the community. So I'm asking you that again. What will you do if elected? You won't answer that. You don't. What's your answer? What's your party? What are you running?
I'm going to answer it in due time, but I'm not going to allow you to sit here and promote a bunch of logical fallacies. We don't have all day. These are logical
fallacies. What's fallacies is what's coming out of your mouth. This utopia that you live in.
Like
the Republicans are so great for black folks. When you haven't said one thing that they've done that's great.
It's a monolith. It's
not. You haven't said one thing about them that they've done great, and you haven't said what you have done. So your job as trying to get, which is in my district,
but you're trying to get my vote.
What will you do? What will you do for black folks?
Republican Party.
What will you do?
And you're trying to lie to people.
What will you do for black folks?
You're trying to lie to working class people in this state, in this city.
Republicans.
You're trying to lie to working class people in this state and in the city by telling them that the Republican Party is a monolith.
What will you do for folks if you're elected? You haven't said that. You keep talking about the Democrats.
The logical fallacy.
I don't want to hear you address that. Address what you do for people that are hurting.
What you want me
know what
say.
black folks are. You know black. You know what your problem is. Your problem is you sitting on this show not saying shit that you do for a party, and you want to be elected. Okay, so you keep talking about what she ain't done. What will you do?
Tell me what I can and can't.
What will you do?
That's the problem.
What will you do?
That's a common trait of the Democrats right now.
What's a common trait too is how Republicans tap dance and talk about what we won't do. But again, what will you do?
You want to censor people's freedom of speech.
What will you do?
You don't believe in freedom of speech.
What will you do?
I'm going to get to that after I address the logical fallacy.
No. What will you do for black folks?
You don't control what I say.
You don't control what the show, though, bro.
You asked me a question. I'm answering the first question. Now you want to move on to the second one.
Because I don't.
But I didn't even finish answering the first one.
I don't like the tap dancing.
I'm not tap dancing.
Okay.
I'm answering the first question.
You're not. Listen, we only have an hour. And your long soliloquies.
The Republican Party is not a monolith.
Okay. You've got that out for the third time.
In the Republican Party.
Which we know.
The MAGA movement went against the GOP establishment.
Okay.
So don't talk about the Republicans like they're a monolith.
They are.
They're not.
Okay.
There's a populist Republican movement, and there's a GOP establishment rhino neocon movement.
Okay.
And the populist movement is closer to the populist movement on the left. There is a populist movement on both sides of the aisle. The movement.
So then why you're a Republican then?
The movement on the left believes in socialist nationalism, and the movement on the right believes in nationalism, populism. Okay, so there's a difference there.
Oh.
Okay, now, the central difference is that the liberal establishment has hung their hat on the idea that foundational American values like Christianity are homophobic, are transphobic, are misogynistic, are racist, and are anti-Semitic. Mm-hmm. And if you don't understand that, then you're not paying attention to your own party. That's not a reflection of me.
What will you do for black folks if you're elected? I mean, damn, that's today's question.
We're going to decouple ourselves from the CCP.
Okay.
Is what we're going to do.
Okay. How do we go about doing that?
We're going to no deals with the devil. Okay. None.
No deals with the devil.
No deals with China.
And who's the devil?
China.
Oh. Trump loves China.
What?
Trump loves China.
He loves China?
Which Trump have you seen?
Oh.
I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what you're paying attention to. Now, I would say that people think that Trump was far right or extreme, which is a lie, but I would actually have gone harder on China, much harder. I would say no deals. Where he said we should make a deal because he's a deal maker, that's kind of his background and being in the corporate world. Mm-hmm. I would have said no deals with China.
All right,
because and here's the thing about liberals. Mm-hmm. You're the party of human rights.
Here we go back to this again. I've never seen
You're
a guy that wants to be elected come on the show and not say what he'll do for the people that he wants them to elect.
We're going to address the moral
crisis. How the hell does that
crisis.
work? Okay.
We're going to address the moral crisis.
What's the moral crisis, Royce?
The moral crisis is that we've become engulfed in sin and consumerism.
Okay.
That's not a good enough answer?
So how do you go about doing it? So here I am broke.
That's not a good enough answer?
So here I am broke and might not have
you're
a place
already
to live.
explaining the hypermaterialism
Might not have a
right
place
there
to
when you
live.
go to talk
And so
about money first.
You want me to? You think my
that
woes
the
are going to be
world-
solved
you
by
think that the
your
world revolves around
your
money?
utopia passion that you have for
Utopian.
republicanism?
Are you a Christian? Do you believe in God?
I'm gonna ask you again.
I'm
What
going to
will
ask
do for
you,
black
do
folks?
you believe in God?
I'm the host of the show. You don't ask the host of the show questions.
Oh, I can ask questions?
No.
Oh, man. See, it's
No.
tyrannical.
Oh,
It makes
okay.
sense.
Oh, right.
This is how your party
So
moves.
since you
This is how you guys believe-
since you
this is
have
how
no
you guys
platform that you're running on,
America
and
first.
Oh, okay, right. I
We're
know.
going to decouple from the CCP.
Okay, so
We're going to bring our homes back from China.
Since you won't
We're not
be,
going to allow the
since
fourth
you won't-
industrial revolution to
Right.
continue trying to automate jobs away from the working
Right.
class.
Since you won't be the
That's what we're
Ilhan,
going to do.
Since you won't be Ilhan, will you still come around the community after you lose?
I'm from the community. Ilhan's not.
Right. Okay. So will you come back after you
Every
lose?
time I give an answer, you just tap dance away from it by saying
So here's
that.
one of the-
Okay.
Here's one of the things.
Right.
I've been sitting back listening.
It's
to
very
y'all.
feminine. There's an attack on masculinity, though.
I know you should know.
So the question that I have, right, is during the show. The point is,
But we led over 50,000 people when the George Floyd uprising happened. Only we went to the Federal Reserve. We didn't go to the first precinct.
So
Because we're not bogged down by the
idea. Why you did that?
Because we're not bogged down by this 3-card Monte where the police have been improperly placed in between the free people and the global corporate structure. See, what the crime situation is here in America, it's a look away from the corporatocracy to say crime's going to be a inevitable byproduct of a philosophical bankruptcy. We're taking the philosophy out of the schools. It's going to be a inevitable byproduct that we're going to place the police in between, and when the time comes, we'll kick them under the bus when we make mistakes because they're underfunded, they're undertrained. They don't have the time off after they run into trauma, which the liberals and Democrats like to talk about. They don't get the time off to actually heal any trauma. They're right back out on patrol the next day because they feel they need to get paid because we live in a hyper-material society. And the only combatant to hyper-materialism is to have a higher belief, which is why the liberals and the neoliberal establishment and the neocons, who also have a raging atheism, want to take God out of society. Because the faith in God says, seek first the kingdom of righteousness and seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you.
So when you decided to march to the Federal Reserve,
Yeah.
Was that a moment that you felt you were able to kind of educate people? Because did people ask, like, why are we going to the Federal
They
Reserve?
had no clue what it was.
Right.
So I guess to answer your guy's question here, one of the first things we should do is teach people what the Fed is. See, we have to go back and actually teach people the institutions and the legacy institutions that preside over their life, their everyday life, because they've been drawn into these gossip sexual politics. They've let politics become reality TV, which isn't by accident, which came along and swelled with the advent of social media. That's why people are more interested in who their politicians are having sex with versus who their politicians are beholding to in this global corporate community. And they wonder why they don't have money. When you say you're broke, but you don't know what the Federal Reserve is, you're an uninformed participant in the democratic process.
So do you want to help people understand? Because
We will.
So here's what I hear from you. Yeah. You're highly educated. And
Not highly.
Well,
I just looked enough behind the curtain
I'm
to
saying
see
that
it.
you understand, right, how these things move. The average voter does not. And
that's the problem. But wait a second. Wait a second. Let me explain something to you. This is a liberal. You think Joe Biden doesn't know what the Federal Reserve is?
No, Joe Biden absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. You think Nancy Pelosi doesn't know? You think Kamala doesn't know?
Of course, they all
you know Barack Obama, did he know?
Of course.
So why do our black people still not know?
Because we have to teach them.
No.
Yeah.
Why Yeah, true. But why, if the Democrats love black people so much, and these institutions
Well, how come your party didn't do it?
Oh, actually, my party's the one that's actually talked about the Federal Reserve and
ending
the economic
Ron
tyranny.
Paul.
Where have they been?
And
Where have they been educating black folks at?
And
Where they been educating black
people
folks
don't
at?
come to the altar of Republicans.
Oh,
We're a 90% Democrat voting demographic.
Then so
how can they teach you something if you're
my
not
God.
even listening? You say they're all racist.
they are.
Then how could they teach you something?
Oh, so I'm
So if
supposed
I
to-
run Republican,
so I'm
and I
supposed
tell
to
you
listen.
about the Fed and you don't know nothing
Listen,
about it,
Royce,
are you going to
hey,
listen?
Not with the
There
bullshit
you
that you
go.
keep coming with today.
There you
Absolutely
go.
not.
And that's
You
why
haven't
you
said
don't
one
know.
thing that you've done.
But how are you going to say how?
All
wait,
this
wait.
man has done all half
How
for
are you
40
gonna
minutes
say-
is talk about the
I didn't even
Democrats
talk
and
for
how
40
bad it
minutes.
is.
No,
I know when you run your mouth so much you don't realize it, but you have.
Actually-
and you have not yet said one thing that you've done that will help the black community.
No, I did.
I'm
America
sorry, you
first.
marched them. You marched them.
I've heard him say a bunch of things.
America
about
I'm
first.
sure you
black
would. I mean, you could
just things that you don't want to hear necessarily.
What does he say?
We have a
What did he say?
crisis of faith and we have
What
a
did he say? What did he
crisis
say?
of national honor.
What do you say?
That's what we
We
have.
need to decouple, right, from the global corporatocracy. That is what he is saying.
Yes.
Now, my issue is this: when you say that, I understand what you mean because again, I take the time to be well versed, but I think that it's at a high level. So here's what's been my problem as a Republican that has been, I guess, informed a lot from the Libertarian Party.
Yeah.
Is that they speak at a level that most Americans literally don't know. So how do you help explain that to them without making them feel like they're stupid because they don't understand?
No,
it,
people shouldn't feel like they're stupid regardless for things they didn't know. I didn't always know. I come from the Rondo community. My family's a blue-collar working class family. It's not a problem that you don't know. What's a problem is when you concede the space in your mind to a party that wants to pander to the things you don't know. That's the problem. Okay? And so the common political culture is that when you write something, you're running a political campaign, for example, when you write something or you speak, you need to speak to a 5th grade level. Mm-hmm. This is belittling. Mm-hmm. This is an insult. This is the first proof and evidence that our political and our elites and our political leaders think that we're children. They look down on us. Okay, that's the first problem. Okay, and why they're doing it is because when you have philosophical depth, when you have agency, when you are able to critically think, it's much harder for them to manipulate you and tell you that these guys are racist. No, there's multiple factions across this political spectrum. From the far right to the far left. Mm-hmm. So to create a monolith out of any of them is just lazy intellectually. But they don't even want you to think intellectually.
Because that's not what you're doing now. You're not labeling Democrats a monolithic group.
He didn't say Democrats. He said he specified.
I could break down the liberal spectrum from the
So wait a minute, a liberal isn't a
left to the
Democrat,
center.
or conservative isn't a Republican. Okay, whatever.
They can
Tomato,
be.
tomato. So
can be.
you sitting here talking about what Democrats aren't doing. Royce, again, brother.
Yeah.
What will you do?
I said it. I said it 3 times.
Oh, march us to the Federal Reserve and teach us what the Fed is.
That's what
you're gonna teach
You don't
us?
think there's any importance in knowing what the Fed
Is that all you're gonna do for us? Is that all you're gonna do to help get?
Citizenship
Is that all you're gonna do?
People's citizenship is based on 2 things.
I can't believe
primarily. Your citizenship is based on 2 things primarily.
What would that be, Royce?
Your vote and your dollar.
Okay.
Yeah, so you should know what the Fed is. You absolutely should know what the Federal Reserve is.
Okay, so is that the only thing you're gonna do? Is that on your platform?
We're gonna decouple ourselves from the CCP.
You said that again. Is that the only 2 things you'll do?
You said I didn't say anything. Then when I say something, you say I just said that.
I mean, because you keep repeating that as if
you said I didn't say anything.
So let me ask you
is that what you're saying? Platforms to black folks?
So
America first.
Let me
Oh,
say
America
this.
first.
Gabe.
We're gonna make sure people have freedoms. We're gonna make
You don't believe in freedom.
We're gonna make sure people don't.
You don't
get
believe in
forced to get
freedom.
vaccinated.
You don't believe in freedom.
We're gonna make sure
You don't believe in real freedom,
we're
bro.
gonna make sure mothers aren't forced to get their children vaccinated.
You don't believe in. You've been getting vaccinated since you were a child.
Whoa.
So all of a sudden now, because of COVID,
If
you
you're
don't
gonna
like
sit
it
here
now.
and try- if
Huh?
you're-
Have you not? Did
these
you not
tropes
get?
are so
did you
corny.
get? Did you get vaccinated when you were a younger child?
There's a difference
Huh?
between the COVID vaccine and the
Did
others.
you or did you not?
Whoa.
Yes, you did.
Is there a
If-
difference
if you were
between
in
the
school,
COVID
you did.
vaccine and the others?
Did you get vaccinated when you were a
Is there
child?
a difference between the COVID vaccine and the others?
Did you get?
Yes,
did you,
there is.
okay.
And if you're telling
Did you
people something
get?
different, you're lying.
Did you get vaccinated when you were a young child?
You're medically misinforming people.
Did you?
You're actually medically misinforming people.
You ain't informing nobody
the
of
COVID
nothing.
vaccine is not the same as the other vaccines that we received as children. They're not.
Royce,
They're not the same.
again, what the hell will you do to help black folks?
I just said it.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Freedom, American first, decouple from the CCP, stop the momentum of the fourth industrial revolution that says we're going to automate jobs. Our same liberal super donors, big tech, Mark Zuckerberg's, all the people that we want to praise on the liberal side, the same people that donate all the money, the George Soroses of the world,
Right.
they want to, and they're not shy about, the fourth industrial revolution where they say we're going to use immigration, unconstrained immigration as a stopgap for automation, where we're going to attack the working class by basically shipping all the working class jobs to the immigrant community until the technology gets good enough, and then we're going to kick the immigrants under the bus. So while Ilhan wants to run on the idea that she's some humanitarian Somalian refugee, she works for the globalists. She works for the elites. When the time comes that the technology gets good enough, the Somali refugees that get the working class jobs now are going to get kicked under the bus also, and they know it. That's why they're upset.
Well, what happened to Amir Rice is
Amir Locke?
you got me so confused with this
I
bullshit.
got you confused.
Yeah,
I know I do. The Fed one got you thrown off.
No, it's the bullshit that you
Yeah,
keep that
no,
you're
the
sitting here
Fed- yeah,
spewing.
the Fed ain't
so
bullshit.
the fact
The
that
Fed is
the
the
Fed
most
isn't, but what you're
powerful
saying is
institution
trying
in
to get
this
elected what
country.
you want. But now
Fed is the most
fact
powerful
that
institution
the
in
fact
this
that that
country.
young man was killed unarmed with a no-knock
What
warrant.
about
How
it?
do you feel about that?
Tyranny.
I mean, please, because whatever
Tyranny.
all else you're talking about is crazy. So how do you feel about no-knock warrants?
Tyranny. The Amir Locke situation is tyranny.
Try to elaborate, Royce.
What do I need to elaborate for? It's wrong. It's tyranny.
Okay.
If you don't know what tyranny is, these are the first problems. This is why I'm running. Because you've been given puppets as elected leaders.
And you're not one of those.
I'm not one of them. I would never sell out. You would take
You
$200
don't
million
You don't
to
believe
keep your mouth shut.
You don't believe in
You
your
would
party.
if the NBA came in here right now.
I know.
The NBA came here and walked in the studio right now and said, "I'll give you $200 million
Yeah.
to not say the truth."
Or would
you
I
would
be
take it.
Or would I be screaming stupid shit like you do? I don't know. I don't
would
know.
take it.
Tomato,
No,
tomato.
I know you would
Okay.
take it.
Okay, I'm sure.
I
you
know
do.
a sellout when I see one.
You know, you look
take
in
$100
the you look in the mirror one every day.
You're taking $100 million.
You look in the mirror one every day. So you should. You should.
I told
And you hang
David
out with
Stern
them.
and them, they
And you
keep
hang
the
out with them. So you should
$200
know what sellouts are. You have absolutely
I told
right.
the NBA
So
they could keep
the
the
fact that when you get your ass creamed by Ilhan,
Yeah.
will you come back to the community?
Seek first the kingdom
When
of
you get
God
your ass
and His
creamed by
righteousness,
when you
and
get
all
when you
these
get
things
killed
will
by
be
her,
added unto you.
when you get killed by her, will you come back?
Seek for. I'm never leaving the community.
Oh, okay.
I never have.
Oh.
I was in the community before people knew who Ilhan was. I was telling the establishment that they could keep the money.
You were
that
when
is
you were out,
bigger than the money.
when you were out in the
before-
suburbs.
Before, I never lived in the suburbs.
Oh, okay.
I went to Hopkins as an open enrollment.
I
Now
mean,
you against open enrollment?
where
you hold on, what?
where we seeing-
So now you're trying to shame
where's your
black
work
people
been?
for moving to the suburbs?
Where's your work been in the
Whoa.
community?
Are you trying to
said
shame black
hasn't-
people for moving to the suburbs?
You've marched us to the
Whoa,
Federal
do you have a
Reserve.
problem
What else
with
work
black
have you
people
done?
living in better
What other work
communities?
have you done in the community?
Do you have a?
Do you have a problem with explaining what other work have you done in the community?
I've been a mental health advocate since I was 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it mental health issues that is the black and brown folks experience that? Is that a high level?
Say the question again.
Do black and brown folks experience mental health issues at high level? Well, what will you do to fix it?
I think relative to, we have to have a conversation about what the mental health is.
This is what you should be doing now. So what will you do to fix it?
We have to have a conversation full-throated about what mental health is. What do we mean when we say mental health? Most people talk about mental health as a diagnostical issue. Anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, schizophrenia, addiction, things of that nature. And those things are real and they affect a lot of people. But the reality is that most people who have these issues never get diagnosed.
A lot of black and brown folks go
A lot of
undiagnosed.
people.
A lot of black and brown
A lot
folks.
of people.
I'm talking about black and brown folks.
A lot of people.
I don't care what you say. Black and brown folks.
A lot of people.
That was
don't
a
get
specific
diagnosed.
question, though.
A lot of people don't get diagnosed.
That was specifically.
What black people, brown people, or any other people have to understand is that mental health is another way to say the human condition, where mind, body, and spirit converge into the perceivable existence. Okay, that mental health is what it means to be human, and that there are some things that we struggle with as human beings that are inherent: despair and angst. We know we're going to live. We know we're going to die. We don't know when that is. That's a tough thing to deal with. And it causes anxiety. The question is, how do you resolve those issues throughout your lifetime? There are multiple ways that you can resolve those issues. One of the very powerful ways that we used to resolve that issue was by faith, by faith in God, which many people have resigned from. Many people have turned from. Many people have become not just atheists, but they've become anti-God. They have a disdain, a hate for Christianity. They call Christianity white supremacy. So I think the first thing I would say is, in order to address the mental health issue, we have to have a better calling. We have to have a better solution. We have to have a higher belief. And Christianity is a great place to start. We need to restore our faith. And then we need to restore our national honor. And then we can actually start to operate in a way where we view our citizenship in the way that we should, which is a value add to the Black community. And we can move forward through existing in this country and all the challenges that it may bring, that it does bring, that it will bring. You're going to have challenges in this country. Everybody has challenges. Mm-hmm. Black people have a unique history. Brown people have a unique history. My great-grandmother, she founded Our Lady of Guadalupe on the West Side. She helped build the first Mexican community in this state. Mm. My great-great-great-uncle, Alfred Ari, who came from Norway and was a Quaker, is one of the most influential dentists in the history of America. He fought for universal health care back in the early 1900s, and he was ostracized for it. Leading and getting ostracized and getting blackballed runs in my bloodline. But I'm not going to sit up here and lie to the American people based on these WWE politics. And that's what people have played. And they've talked down to the American people to keep them spinning in a circle, not focused on where the real tyranny is. And you have to ask yourself, of all of these people who have a platform, are they ignorant to it or are they in on it? So when I bring up the Federal Reserve and somebody calls it bullshit, you have to ask yourself, how is it that we've created a culture where the institutions that affect me most are called stupid by the people who want to educate me on them?
So here's the thing that I've had an interesting perspective from just even in this conversation right now, right? The reason that this show exists is because we want to be able to bring together people that fundamentally have ideological differences, and then we have to ask the question, can we have meaningful conversations that don't devolve just into you're stupid, you're ugly, you're not black enough, whatever it might be. And I get that this is people's lives that we're talking about, right? Yeah. For as much passion as you have, Royce, about the things that you truly believe fundamentally will make America better, yeah, I do not doubt that Jamar has those exact same feelings. It's just you have different ideological beliefs. So here's my thing is that I've found that it's sometimes hard to be able to passionately explain what your beliefs are and try and get people that it's such a foreign concept to them, right? So foreign that they either spin it off to that's a conspiracy, spin it off to I have no idea what you're talking about, spin it off to, you know what, like it's so far ahead of my head, you know, so far ahead of my ability to actually turn a concept into what you mean. The Federal Reserve can seem like such a strange thing.
It's not that big a concept though. See, we got to stop that. We got to stop pandering to this. There's a soft bigotry to low expectations. That was a George Bush line. It's one of the few things George Bush ever said that I actually liked. He's a raging neocon. He and I in the Republican Party would be on totally opposite ends. He's a globalist. His family were globalists. But when he said there's a soft bigotry to low expectations, I went, ooh, that one stung me right here. As a black man, I went, that's right. That's right. And there are people who have opposing views who can be right. A broken clock is right 2 times a day.
Sure is.
It is not for us to let our ideologies, our ideological possession stop us from acknowledging when the broken clock is right, because then we're misinformed. Then we're behind a step. The Federal Reserve is not that complicated of a issue. How it functions is complicated,
right? But
just it as an entity is not that it's a central bank. We have been taken advantage of as the working class, which includes many black people, by the institutions that sit on top of us, and the Federal Reserve is one of them. And and here's my thing about oh well, it's over people's head. No, it's not over people's head. People enjoy sin. People love being distracted. They love the distraction, and we have to acknowledge that. So when I go to run and I go to talk about CD5 or go into CD5 and say, look at the circumstance of our life. Why is our life this way? Because we love distraction. We love distraction too much to look into the things we need to become empowered citizens, like the Federal Reserve. We love the distraction. We're more interested in who's, dating who, and there's a whole litany of distractions that we're invested in that we have no problem researching. We don't have a problem researching the things that keep us distracted. But when it comes to researching the things that would actually have us be informed and be empowered as citizens, all of a sudden it's way over our head and we can't deal with it. No, we need to stop that culture now. We need a renaissance of identity and culture in this country. So when you ask me what I'm going to do for CD5 and black people, I'm going to spearhead the renaissance for identity and culture here in America. And we're going to do that, and the heading is America First. And it does involve us getting away from being dependent on a country that doesn't believe in freedom at all. A country that the liberals have bent the knee to and idolized. They idolize and worship Xi Jinping. Now, if the people listening don't know who that is, he's the president of China, and he's made himself president for life.
So the biggest issue for black folks is the Federal Reserve?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Where can folks find how to donate your campaign? And
RoyceWhite.us. RoyceWhite.us. Again, I'm running for Congress and CD5 against Ilhan Omar. And absolutely, the Federal Reserve is a huge issue.
Okay.
The financial tyranny of
no one said it isn't, but that's the biggest issue for black folks?
The economic situation is, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to say when
it surely isn't police shooting black people in the street, although that is an issue.
No, that isn't an issue.
But the economics are a huge issue.
Which you haven't addressed.
I think
I said the Federal Reserve.
Oh, you talked about the Federal Reserve.
So this is
how it works.
Talked about
and how complicated it is and how complicated it isn't.
No, you're saying it's not complicated.
It's not complicated.
Okay.
But here's what I'm going to say is that the concept of it, correct, is not complicated.
No.
I'm saying though that based off of our basis of knowledge of what we have been taught since we were children in grade school.
Who's in charge of the public education curriculum?
I understand that, but this is
the school boards.
But here's what I'm saying though:
the Republicans run the school boards. And
what were you to
CD5?
change?
It's like
you ain't say shit
we're
about
gonna change the curriculum.
Oh, I know, right?
So
we're gonna make sure that when you grow up, you know about the Federal Reserve.
I know.
And
you're gonna make that number one.
Yeah.
But
you're gonna make that number one.
We're also gonna start saying the Pledge of Allegiance at the public school.
Oh,
amen to that.
Okay.
Amen to that. So one of the
because the enemies that we face. Hold on.
Yeah.
The enemies that we face, they have national honor. When you talk about Russia and China, and this is what they want to keep away from black people, black liberals, black Democrats.
Right. Tell us.
We're going to fight a war coming here. We're already in it, really. We're in an economic war, and now we're in a proxy war with Russia. But there's going to be a time in the future where we fight a real war, and the people who are our enemies, they have national honor. China, they have an ethno-national culture. They believe in China, and not only China, they believe in the Chinese people. Russia, they believe in Russia. They believe in the Russian identity.
And
in America, we're losing our identity. We don't have one because we tell people America is just inherently bad. And there are problems with America. But where do black people think they're going?
Tell us, sir.
Oh, I'm not sure. I think that we own a piece of this country based on what we put into it.
Being the original laborers?
There you go.
Yeah.
So why would those same black people say F America?
So they shouldn't? They shouldn't?
No, they shouldn't. They should become empowered and take their rightful stake in America. That's what a real person would do.
Hey,
that's what a courageous person would do.
Why don't you lead us to doing so?
I'm going to.
I can't
tell. That's why I
tell.
said America first.
Oh, right.
Yeah. You get it now?
Yeah. Damn, now I get it. It's taking an hour and now I get it.
No.
It's only taking
you got it in the beginning.
It's only taking you an hour and now I get it.
Beginning, you want to dance around it because you're threatened by that.
Dance.
A lot of black men are
you have on the right attire, Mr. Fred
plantation.
Astaire. You've danced so much that your feet should be tired.
A lot of black men are afraid of leaving the Democrat plantation.
And a lot of black men are just crazy enough to spout Republican bullshit. You're the other one.
Thank you for coming on tonight. Talk what I say.
And you.
This is why Ilhan's worried.
Thank God.
This is why Ilhan's
You think she's worried?
This is why Ilhan's sending emails.
You haven't even raised enough money to make her even sweat.
This is why emails sent.
You ain't even raised enough money to make her sweat. Federal Reserve.
This is why
Federal Reserve.
Sending emails.
I hope that Ilhan thinks
to her list
because you're gonna make inroads, man.
Oh,
no, but you know why? You know why? Because I'm telling you,
don't blow smoke up his ass.
And she's lying. See,
right.
A lot of these black Democrats, what they don't understand is there's a power in the truth that's universal.
Yeah.
It transcends the political.
Oh.
And I think the political is important, but I think faith and truth are more important. And when we get down to the nitty gritty about these issues like the Federal Reserve or our allegiance to China or our dependence on China, and we see how Ilhan voted, she's going to have trouble making do on the promise and on the tale that she stands for American people, especially black people.
How does she
even
vote?
more dangerously, Somali people.
How does she vote?
Oh, I'll tell you. She came out and talked about the Uyghurs. Do you know who the Uyghurs are? Is that over your head?
You've made that quite known who the Uyghurs are, Royce.
Do you care for the Uyghurs?
Carry on.
Do you said that real flip? See, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You care about human rights and freedom, and you care about
genocide,
racism.
man.
But there's a 2 million person genocide, and you talked about the Uyghurs like it's just a nothing issue.
Okay.
You're a sellout. You're a sellout.
Yeah. I worry about my people, and you don't. I'm the sellout.
No.
Okay.
The black people in this country are the Uyghurs of China. You don't get that.
Oh yeah, I know.
Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. That was Martin Luther King. You believe in him? Okay. I don't know.
Do you believe in?
Ilhan Omar talked about the Uyghurs. The person who you said is great.
Do you believe in? Do you believe in ever talking about what the hell you gonna do for people?
We're gonna divorce ourselves.
You
from
wanna
the
wait a minute? March it to the Federal Reserve. Teach us the Federal Reserve.
Absolutely.
And decouple us from each other. What was that?
From China.
Oh, from China.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where our jobs are going.
Thank you.
China.
You're definitely gonna win. Royce, once again, where's your website?
RoyceWhite.us. America first.
Okay, so that's where you can go.
Godspeed. The truth is coming.
Not from you.
Truth is coming.
You can go to his website and donate and help volunteer and do whatever else you could do. How you been doing with fundraising?
Let's say this.
How you been doing with fundraising?
Oh, we raised about $100,000 the first 6 days.
Oh, okay. Do you know how much she has in the bank?
First 6 days, that's really good.
But listen, but here's the deal.
She has $11 million cash on hand.
Don't donate to the campaign.
I don't plan on.
I would much rather you go look up the Federal Reserve.
Oh, please do that for Roy. He's been talking about that all night. Go look up the Federal Reserve for Royce, and check out his website and where you can help him win. That's Roy White. Royce, thanks for coming on tonight.
Godspeed.
How you feeling, Jamar, dog? I'm AK Kamara.
I'm Jamar. Next week, who we got next week?
Kendall Qualls.
Another one. Oh God!
All these Black Republicans.
And then Dennis Smith the week after that, and Arthur Knight the week after that. We got a jam-packed month.
Yeah.
Come on back. Come on back, please. I'll probably be, come on back.